Interchange. I am Avis Mulhall and I'm the host of InterchangeTV. Today I'm sitting down with Claudia. Claudia has been a startup mentor and worked in startups for the last 8 years, and she has also been voted in the top 10 startup mentors in Sydney. So she's pretty rad and knows what she's talking about. So first up, Claudia, thank you.
My pleasure. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, and we're very glad to have you here. So first of all, I wanted to ask you was, today has really been a lot around building teams and doing like group work, and the whole of this 2-week session in between week 1 and week 2 is all about research.
Yes.
As somebody who has a lot of experience in the startup space, particularly tech startups,
Yeah.
you know, how important is this phase?
So there's a couple ways of looking at it. For me, research is really something that should open your mind, and that's the magical part of it, because you'll get to go into the world with possibly a question in this sense. When I work with startups, it is normally a product or a solution to a specific problem, but it works in the same way. So you go out and actually explore what you don't know rather than trying to become an expert in the subject matter, which is not going to happen.
No, we can't know all the things.
Yes. So, and if you go at it with that sentiment rather than trying to become an expert, it really opens up so many doors, and you start making connections and you start asking questions about other people, and that's where the empathy exercise starts. However, the other part is people will go in and become completely immersed in the research in a very narrow way.
Okay.
So when they come back, you can't just be, oh, well, this is what I researched, and for the rest of my life, this is what I believe.
So it's really about kind of
opening your
listening,
mind.
opening your mind, but not being really dogmatic with the approach that you take to your research.
And
as
even
well?
not being too methodological about it.
Yeah.
It's just really about opening your mind and trying to find out those known unknowns where you're going to have to
Perfect.
tackle when you do business
Great.
modeling.
And you touched on really just a tiny bit earlier, empathy.
Yes.
So empathy is a business tool. Like, what is it and how important is it?
So it's very important. We do a lot of human-centered business modeling and socially responsible business modeling. And one of the things that I see a lot when people will bring me a product that they've either already developed or a company that's been operating, and they wonder why it doesn't work, is because they haven't really put themselves in the shoes of the people they're trying to solve the problem for, which blows my mind every single time. Because you become really obsessed with the solution rather than, you know, the group of people, the community that you're doing it for. And that's regardless of whether it's a social enterprise or if it's a hardwired product. So,
So end of the day, you're designing for humans. Empathy is important because you need to put yourself in their shoes so that you know that the product you're designing for them or the service you're designing for them is going to fit their needs.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. And lastly, so next week is your moment to shine.
Yeah.
So the next session, we're really going to be delving into the kind of, you know, product, services, business model canvas. Can you tell us a little bit about what we should expect and what the guys should expect from the next session?
It's a different way of looking at a business plan. So it's the startup way of building things. So instead of sitting down and making decisions, you're sitting down and making assumptions.
Okay.
So it's a very simple, almost too simple way of looking at a business, which you and I have done 100 million times.
Yeah.
But it's very confronting, and that's the human part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to live with a business that is human, that it's at its most uncertain, and it's also at its most exciting. So it's really about delving into those things as assumptions and experiments rather than as decisions that you have to stick to forever. So,
Okay, great. And just before we tie things up, any tips you'd give to the students?
Just tying it back to empathy. If you think about empathy as the distance you travel to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, the whole exercise when you're going out and doing research is shortening that distance, right? So making sure that you understand what the other, even if you are part of that community, your point of view or your worldview might not be the same as somebody who shares the same interests. So just remembering,
So particularly around this design question, which is about international students, just because of your experience, you know, it's still really important to get out there, talk to the people, and get their insights as well. Because if it's just about you, you're not going to really be putting yourself in other people's shoes. So on that nugget, thank you so much, Claudia, for joining us. This has been Interchange TV. I'm Avis Mulhall, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.